Welcome back to the eSports Report. It's time to talk to the captain of FaZe about their huge upset in London. Censor, welcome to the show, my friend. Talk us through basically the start of the tournament. Before we even get to the EG match, talk us through what went down in group play.
Group play, we had to play Optic Nation and TCM, so we knew we had one of the toughest groups. We knew that the best teams were going to be there, and we had to bring our A game. We went to Dallas the week before, got some good practice in. We did get third out of 3 pro teams, and that's something I can't stress enough. We got third out of TK and Curse, so we were the worst there at that tournament. So we knew coming into this event we had to step up, we had to prove a point, and coming out in that match versus TCM, I think we did.
So what were some of the changes you guys discussed and some of the things you focused on going from AEL after losing to Curse, knowing that in London you had to do something definitely different if they wanted to place in the money?
Right. We knew that we had to work better on our communication. We had to listen to each other more. But the most important thing that we did, and I can't emphasize it enough, we switched Dito and Parasite's roles. Now Parasite runs the AR and Dito runs the submachine gun. And I think it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, so whose idea was it to switch up the roles and let Parasite to go back to the AR? And did Dito need a lot of convincing, or was he willing to do it right away?
Well, Dito's a very versatile player. If I could compare him to anyone on the scene right now, I'd say he's a lot like Aches. If you see Aches with an AR, he could go off. If you see Aches with a sub, he could go off. Dito doesn't care which gun he uses. He likes using both. And I think it was the sovereign domination we had against Curse at AEL Dallas that made us change what we wanted to do. We felt that Chris was way too slow with the submachine gun, and Dito was complaining about it. So he said right then and there, yo, Chris, something needs to change. And then we said, why are you using a submachine gun if you're so good with an AR? And he said, I don't know. And it was kind of like a stupid thing that clicked in our heads, and we're like, hey, we need to do this now. And that's what we did.
I like it. Well, it definitely paid off. Jack, I know you had a few questions for Censor.
Yeah, so now you guys went to that EG match, definitely it was kind of a game there where you guys had to really prove how good of a team you were. You know, a lot of people were hyped to see you guys perform at this event. So a lot of people were eyes on watching this series. What do you think was the key to really taking that series home, especially in a sweep?
The biggest thing that I told my team before the match is that everyone's going to be watching. I looked out to the fans. It was insane. The London fans were incredible. I just want to give a quick shout out to them and Gfinity. It was an awesome event. Everyone treated us really, really with a lot of respect and a lot of kindness. And I just told the guys before the match that there's so many people watching. FaZe is watching. We let down FaZe once. And I don't want to say let down, but I feel like I let them down if I don't win. And I just didn't want to have that feeling again. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to fly from my house in New York all the way to London just to get top 8 and not get any money at all, just to lose to the world champions. I knew that we had a bad situation since we finished number 1 in the pool. We had to play the best team right off the break. But I just told them, listen, we didn't come all the way out here to lose. Everyone bring your A game, and everyone did. And I was really happy once we won.
Were you nervous at all when you saw that bracket and saw that you were the unlucky team that drew EG in round 1?
No, because Dito's the most negative person I know, and he said, watch, once we get this 1 seed, we're going to have to play EG out of all the teams. So right after we beat Nation, we walked off the stage, and I think Martin was announcing the pools and the teams, and I heard him say, and with pool number 3, semifinal number 4, quarterfinal number 4, FaZe will be taking on. And he takes out the ball from the little drawing, and I knew exactly what he was going to say. He goes, and FaZe will be playing Evil Geniuses. I was like, of course, Ken, of course. And he's like, I told you. And we're like, all right, let's go out and let's win.
So you guys came into Sovereign. You had this game plan in your mind that you were going to let Parasite run the AR. This seemed to be the exact same gameplay from what I saw at the U.S. Championships and even COD Champs, where you had one guy back caution, everyone else focused on B. Did you mix up your strategy at all? Was this just something that came naturally through the gameplay, or was this the mindset coming into it?
Well, back in the day, we had Ronaldo using a sub, and he's one of the best submachine gun players, and Dito would run the AR. But now that we have Chris, we told Chris to change to the AR. He actually used an AR in just about every single map the entire weekend, except for Freight Blitz, I want to say. But other than that, he was using an AR. We didn't really practice it at all. I think we played 1 set of series of scrims, so 4 domination maps and 3 blitzes before we went into Gfinity, just because we only had like 1 or 2 days before we left. And we didn't really get too technical with it. We just let it flow. We told Chris, run the AR, me, Apathy, and Dito, be aggressive, and that's what we did, and it worked.
Well, in that series, you guys came out by keeping everyone on EG under a 1.0. Who is your MVP, and how did you guys do it?
Jeez, I didn't even know that. I would say the MVP from that match was Apathy. I think he went 5 positive in the domination. The search and destroy, he had like 11 kills. Me and him held down Red really well on the defense. I just kept watching the door. He kept watching the cross, and we held everything down. And then on the blitz, he had a really good game too. I'd say it was Apathy, and honestly, just everybody was clicking. Everybody was ready to go. We were all on the same page. We've had a lot of failures in the past of losing when we had to win, and we kind of just understood that now is the time to win and now is the time to go. Unfortunately, we didn't win the event, but in that moment, I think we played some of our best Call of Duty.
Yeah, definitely Apathy stepping it up there. We wound up doing a series on the show this past week about how Apathy's been so successful against EG in the past in U.S. regionals, beating him twice. And then at X Games as well on TK. He did it again here on FaZe. You know, him and Parasite both stepped it up the series. Parasite had almost a 1.4 KD. Apathy had a 1.3. What is it about those two guys that they've kind of started forming a duo around themselves?
I didn't even know that. Maybe because they sit next to each other on the main stage.
There you go.
Gfinity screwed up the seating arrangements. They weren't supposed to sit there, but no. I don't know.
Oh,
I just
you
think
better-
it's the
you better
playing
stick
style.
with this.
Parasite's a very slow player. He doesn't like to be the initial player to push out and make a play. He likes to be the player that's going to clean up and be off the reaction of other players. And Apathy is the player who's very fast twitch, snapping, aggressive, fast, explosive, dynamic. He's trying to make a play at all times. And I think Parasite knows exactly what he's going to do before he does it. So he positions himself for Apathy. And then once Apathy makes his play, Parasite comes in and sweeps up all the kills.
All right, so let's move from the EG match to the Epsilon match, kind of hitting a sour note here. You guys started off kind of getting blown out in the first domination. First off, what was the mindset coming into this matchup after taking it out on the world champions? What were your thoughts facing off against one of UK's best?
We didn't change anything up at all. We just kept staying focused and confidence. And we weren't going to say that we were going to win, but we wanted to stay confident. We wanted to stay focused. We didn't want to get too anxious and too excited to play because we knew that it wasn't over. We still had 2 more matches at that point. So going into that match, we just kept doing what we were doing, and it was working. I don't think we got blown out in the first dom. I think it was the last one, but we started off really strong. We won the first domination, and then we went into the search and destroy, and we had a good lead going into that too. And unfortunately, the Xboxes froze, and then it made us have to restart. And then off the restart, Epsilon won 3 rounds in a row or something like that. And we made it 5-4, and we just didn't close it out, and they won the map. And then Freight Blitz came along, and Dito and I had a really bad game on Freight Blitz. We were down by like 5 flags with a minute left, and we almost came back and tied it in the last second. But Jared had a couple of huge kills to stop us from tying the game. And then once they won up 2-1, it was pretty much over. They just dominated us on the Domination Octane.
So the Domination Octane, sorry about that, was the game 4. Now, knowing that you have such strong ARs on this team, did you feel confident entering this one? Because everyone in the UK definitely knows that Epsilon's best game mode arguably is Domination on Octane.
Really, I had no idea. Obviously, they played amazing on the map. Everywhere you would go on the map, there was always a guy being in your face, getting ready to kill you. So I didn't really know too much about their playing style or what their best maps were, but Epsilon showed up on the map. They showed up in the series, and they were the better team in that series. But Dito and Parasite are very, very good on Octane Dom. I guess it just had to do with momentum. I guess they were pumped up. They were ready to go. Their shots were on point on the Freight Blitz. And I guess after we lost that map, they just picked up momentum. They caught fire. There's some machine guns were flanking Dito and Parasite. That's what they were complaining about the entire map. And I guess they just knew what they were doing, and they were just the hot team right then and there.
So definitely a tough loss there to Epsilon. You guys definitely played well in that series, but it just wasn't enough as the European team came out on top there. But what I'm looking to ask you now is, what do you think you guys learned from this past weekend, and what can you do to now excel in Season 3? Right now you guys are doing all right. You came off that big 2-0 night. Now where do you see yourself kind of changing, and what do you see you guys working on in these next few matches?
I don't think it's really something we need to work on. I think everything we're doing now is working. It's just that we need to adapt a little bit better in game. When we went up 5-4 against Epsilon, we had a defensive round, and we had the first blood, and we lost it. And then after that, we had offense, and we kept smoking the bomb and going right for the plant. But we didn't realize that every time we smoked it, they would just throw a grenade or 2 grenades at the bomb and start shooting at it. So what we needed to do then and there was to smoke the bomb and wait for the grenades and smoke it again and go for the plant, or smoke the bomb and have somebody run through the smoke and rush them as they threw the grenades. I think that's something that we needed to work on better, is just adapting to teams as they were playing. And, that's something that we got to continue doing into Season 3. If teams are going to be doing one thing, we need to have a counter for it. And I think the more we practice our counters for teams, the better we're going to be moving forward.
Well, Doug, congratulations on a top 4 finish, man. It was definitely a pleasure to see you guys have so much success in London. Final question for you. Were the monitors really a factor?
No.
There you go. You heard it here.
verdict from a top 4 player. Doug, thank you for coming on the show. We can catch you on Twitter, of course, FaZe_Censor. When are you going to be streaming next?
Probably right now. I'm going to turn on my streams. Hopefully I can get into some Money 8s and play some with Optic, with my teammate Parasite, and some other players.
Good luck, my friend. Go make some money. That is Doug. Hit him up on Twitter, guys, and a big congratulations to all of FaZe's pro team. Jack, FaZe in our top 4, but we have one more team to talk about today, and it's the team that knocked out FaZe. What are we discussing when we come back?
Yeah, we actually have Epsilon taking down Optic Gaming, and, we actually also have TK facing off against EG2, another great matchup from this past weekend.
Plenty more to come live here on the ESR.